wherever you're joining the stream, I want to welcome you to this very special edition on the Pan African Daily TV. Tonight is going to be another special evening where we're meeting two young African brothers that are here to educate us on the need for us to unite. But how they want to do it, they're going to be presenting this marvelous, and I call it one kind of a milestone project for us uh, in the quest, from what I hear, it's just still like, the idea. And so, but what they need now is to officially, publicly tell us more about this idea, and so that we can see how we would start engaging in it, right? So, if you're joining us from wherever you are, please make sure you click the link and share and invite one another to be on the space. And we'll be starting 5 minutes or so. We just give time for people to connect and to join us before we go into the show proper. I want to remind us, sorry, about the happenings of last week and the happenings in the previous weeks that are coming up while people are joining. Let me just use this opportunity to thank all of you that watched the show yesterday with Reverend Shark. Yeah, I mean, that show was actually like a step into the future of just thinking the crisis and where our problems as Africans actually originated from. What is it that caused us, to be what we are? And like Reverend Shock actually said yesterday, there is nothing wrong with an African, but something happened to us. So I want to welcome all of you that are joining. And if you did not watch that show yesterday, please make sure you go through it. I had to really take back time to go through the PowerPoint slides that he mentioned there, because that's the root cause. That is one of the root cause of our problems or our challenges. And most of the times we address the symptoms, but we don't touch the root cause. And so the symptoms could be like, today we just heard that a young man in the Americas shot his wife and 3 children and shot himself. I mean, a couple of days we had the police brutality of a black man that was shot again, right? And so everywhere it's always going to be these stories that we're hearing, but there was never a day. These are symptoms of what happened, what is happening to us. Of course, we do address them like racism, like, psychopath, craziness, or whatever, hate and all that. Yes, but there is a root cause to why. Why would they target an African? Why would they target a black man? And so when we get young people, like Kwadow and Kabala that will be here with us tonight, who sat back and look at all this and say, no, something is wrong somewhere. But I'm not just going to sit here and think and narrate about the things that have been happening like we've been doing in the past. I'm going to do it like His Excellency late Magufuli did. I'm just going to get to work and prove the results and present the results to my people and engage them in us to build. I'm going to set an example. And so we are engaging more the youths. Of course, we have our elders that will be guiding them on the steps to follow. We have our kings and our royals, that will be coming on the show to mingle everything. We also have political experts and leaders that would be guarding all this movement that the youths have been energized, to create so that we can build the Africa that we want. So I'm really loving all these initiatives that are coming up. And so it is our time. It is our time because we've been asking for long, but maybe we actually were not addressing to the Most High, the creator of the African race. Now the time is coming because we are asking, and everything we just ask, it's been given unto us. Now we ask, why don't we have a party that is globally uniting Africans? Now the party is here. So sometimes I think we've spent a lot of time talking about things that others have been doing to us, fighting each other, blame game and stuff and hate and whatever. We have never focused to sit and say, hey, what can I put on the table? And so this is the time where Africans are raising their voices and calling on the God of their creation, the most high power that made you equal to another man that is existing. Whether black, yellow, white, purple, you're the same. It's the same creator. But now is the time that we're looking forward and trusting him and say, hey, we've been crying for so long. The God that even gave the permission for us to be taken into slavery, who would do that? Was it something mandatory? Was it something we had to learn? Yes, we have learned a lot, and we want to address this issue. So I hope all of us are joining, and like you said, your members and your followers needed time to join here on the show. I just wanted to give a short introduction, welcoming those that are coming in. If you're signing in from the continent or from the diaspora, I'd like to, hear a comment from you. Give us thumb ups. Please make sure if you're here for the first time, click and subscribe on our YouTube channel, because most of the important series that are coming up now, we would actually be doing them priority based on YouTube. I will tell you the reason why during the show. You know it. Facebook is sometimes, or the other social media platforms, not really friendly, and so they can shut you down at any time. But YouTube, there are some criteria. They will give you some warning and they will give you some correction. So everything that we think that is high tech, everything that we think that is a secret in the home, everything like our young brains that are coming up that we think we need to protect them a lot, we're going to be doing it on YouTube. And so if you are watching from Facebook and you haven't subscribed to our Pan-African Daily TV YouTube, you'll be missing a lot, because there will be seminars or this kind of conversation like the one that is coming next week with Nana Kwadow. With Nana Kwame, our youngest, richest millionaire, a Pan-African that is also saying, I want to change Africa. Yes. And this show exclusively would be on YouTube, because we don't know what will happen on Facebook. So please, I'm just calling on all of you to subscribe. Just click the red subscribe button and the notification bell. So each time we come live, you are more secure. So thank you. Enough of that. And I'm going back to the studio to greet my champions tonight. Hello, Kabala. I'm starting with you. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad to be here.
Fine. So where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from Johannesburg, South Africa.
Okay, I thought from the DRC.
Yes, that's currently right now in South Africa, Johannesburg, but I'm originally from DRC, Congo.
All right, so you're born in Congo, but you are the king of the whole continent, isn't it? You can be anywhere you want, anytime. Is that not a luxury?
Yeah, that's true. Everywhere is home. Africa is home. Wherever I find myself, even I have to sleep in Nigeria, it's still at home. Even in Kenya, it's still at home. So right now, I'm at home, even though I was born in DRC. Saying to myself that I'm from Congo is actually according to the colonial context. However, we shouldn't really having to identify ourselves in that manner. We are Africans. I think that's enough.
Beautiful. I like that. I like that retrospective of yours. And I already hear that from your tongue. You're already beginning to speak like the South Africans.
Well, I quite spent some time here, in and out, and I also studied here. So my undergraduate studies were in English, so that's the reason why I am, I've adapted, but I'm still having some French accent in my vocabulary, though.
Correct. I can feel that. Like when you're speaking, I hear Honorable Julius Malema. There's some of this act like, and I love it so much. I think I need to school out there and just get that tongue, that, and to keep it real. Anyway, we're so happy to have you here, Kabala. And I know you will be telling us, what is it that you want your audience to know about what we're about to do here tonight?
Well, I want the audience, obviously, not just your audience, but also the entire population of Africa to know that there are as many as problems we are facing right now as African people. There are also solutions, and we just have to look deeply and closely in how to find these solutions, and also be willing to pay the price of any solution that we want, because there's nothing that will come if we are not willing to pay the price. And I'm talking particularly about Africa. We are confronted with a lot of problems right now, and some Africans find that it's nice to go, or the solution for them is to go overseas and forget Africa and forget all the problems that we have in our countries. But I think everything that I will have to talk in this show or everything that we will have to present here is to make understand our people abroad or here that we don't have to lose hope. There's still many ways to fix our problems, and we just have to believe that we can do that and begin working today.
That is excellent. One thing that I like that you touch is we should be ready to pay a price. Now, it means like, let's consider Africa to be a product. It's a product. So what kind of price should Africans be able to purchase? Let's say we're renegotiating to own our continent. I mean, it takes a lot of price, isn't it?
Well, okay, I don't really put it in the context of negotiating, because if we say we have to negotiate to free Africa, then we have to find who are we negotiating with. And in my judgment, or in the logic, of this reality of a free people against, oppressed people, one thing for sure is that liberty or freedom cannot be negotiated. Freedom cannot be even given. Freedom has to be fought for and has to be gained. So the price I'm talking about is that African is this moment. We have to sit down and look and think, where are we want to go with Africa as we're speaking right now? In 500, in 5 years to come, or in 50 years to come, even 100 years to come, what do we want Africa to be? And when we see, or when we conclude on what we want Africa to become, we have now to imagine what kind of price are we willing to pay to get that result happening. Because in most cases, we have always wanted things to happen, but we are not ready to pay the price that is needed to get those things that we want to be happening. In other words, African people have had many ambitions, but we don't have vision. And that's, if you think deeply about that statement, you will see that all our problems can be found right there. We have ambitions to be good, to develop our countries, to build roads, to build cities, because we see England building its cities and building their roads. We have ambitions to have technology, because we see Chinese and other people having technologies, but we don't have the vision as African people. When Chinese invent anything, they have a vision, and that vision is to conquer the world, to become the superpower in the world. So the question is, what do we as African people have as a vision in whatever things that we do on a daily basis? We don't have a vision, simply ambitions. And ambition cannot define people. Ambition will make you only copying the ones that inspires your ambitions, but not to make you a distinctive person from your reality and from your environment, to create your own conditions. So it is time that we have to sit down and to design what is the vision for Africa. And when you design the vision, it's also important for you to decide what kind of cost are you willing to pay for you to get that vision realized. And that's the reason why I'm saying that this is a moment that Africans have not to think about the price to pay for our freedom, because for a long time we have wanted people to give us freedom because we didn't know that freedom cannot be given, or we have negotiated for freedom because we didn't know that freedom cannot be negotiated. Now is the time that we have to think about what can we do to acquire our freedom by all means necessary, as Malcolm X said. And there's a price for that. And African must be willing to pay the price. They must firstly know what is the price, and they must be willing and ready to pay that price. Otherwise, Africa will never change.
Wow. Yes, this is deep. This is the time. This is actually the time. I think this is the time for Africa. I mean, probably the other things that were not happening is because that's not the time. We had this preparation, the ignorance, our brains was just dumb, and people were just sleeping. But right now, the times is there, and our ancestors, our gods, are knocking at every door and say, you need to wake up. And I can see all of you waking up, and I thank all of you that are joining. Yes, and you coming in your numbers, and that's the energy that we need from the young people. I want to thank also the diaspora that is also all ears like mine, looking forward to have this conversation and this platform tonight. So Kwadow, my brother from Ghana. Yeah. Kwadow, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and thank you very much. How are you also doing?
Kwadow, I've been having this conversation with you for long, and I've been seeing you posting a lot on the Pan-African Daily TV and about ACUP, and I see the kind of, the things you write, the Marcus Garvey, the Patrice Lumumba, the Mohamed Gaddafi, the Ya Asento. It's just like all the spirit of all, the Malcolm X, the Martin Luther, all of them just like settle on you. When I read your articles, I was like, wow, who is this? We need to know him. How did you get to this point, Kwadow, where you thought now is the time?
Yes, I think every one of us as individuals, if we really we have to think about, then we have to know that we have a problem. And as a person, I think I also have a problem, like every one of us. And I have been thinking about what can I do to solve this problem, not to be part of the solution. So basically, I have personally been in soul searching. I have been searching everywhere. At first, I was looking at the problem from a different angle, but with time, I got to realize that yes, we all face a problem. Nobody is going to solve the problem for us, and it is up to every one of us to become part of the solution. So what I took upon myself is to search, share knowledge, and try to educate people, and eventually connect with people everywhere in the world. I mean, my people everywhere in the world, to come together for us to find a common solution to the problems we have. So basically, that has been a very long journey. Maybe it will be another discussion, but eventually it has always been about searching for solutions to our problem, and that is why I am here today.
Thank you so very much. Yes, I saw it. I saw the power, the energy. I read all your articles, even when some of them were censored, by Facebook. I know we are currently even under limitation to share because of the post that you posted. And nothing was wrong with it. Absolutely nothing. But this is exactly what we're saying, right? Like, even though we're struggling, we're at war. We're just at war, even expressing ourselves and what we need to do for our people. And like Kabala said, it is freedom or never. We have to do everything possible, and we should be ready for every price that we're paying, whether they're bringing down our pages or shutting up our mouth. We should be ready for it. Yeah. So, what is ACUP? Kabala.
Is this question coming to me?
Yeah, thank you so much. I didn't know if you were still okay. The ACUP is the African Continental Unity Party. It's a new party that we've just formed recently, actually, towards the end of last year. So briefly, we describe the ACUP or the ACUP as the only Pan-African political party transcending boundaries. And the reason is that for a long time, since actually the period post-independence of Africa, we have been implementing solutions in a perspective defined by us, by colonialists. It means if you are from Zambia, you were looking for the Zambian solution. If you are from the Congo, as myself, we are looking for the Congolese solution for what we think is our Congolese problem. However, after 6 years, it's normal that we have to sit down and rethink again the strategies that we have been implementing for over 60 years of looking for our individual solutions. And the simple statement that can be made from the observation of the 60 years of failure of the system in Africa is that there is no Congolese solution, there is no South African solution, there's no Nigerian solution, there is only African solution. And as much as there's no Congolese, Nigerian, and South African solution, we can also make a statement to say that there is no Congolese future, there is no Nigerian future, there is no Zambian future, there's only African future. So this is the moment that we as African people have to come now with a different strategy. Conventional wisdom says that a fool is the one who does the very same thing but expecting different results. We have been doing this for over 60 years. It is time now that we have to look for the African solution, because the core of our problem is Africa. What was destroyed was Africa. When the colonialists came from Europe to Africa, they didn't come for Congo, they didn't come for Nigeria, they came for Africa. And whenever they see you wearing that black skin, which for me I call is the badge of honor, whenever they see you not as a Congolese. They don't treat you on the basis of what you define yourself as, but they treat you on the basis of Africa, of who you are as African person. because of what you represent as a potential threat and the real threat to the power structure and the power that's be. So we have to come up with the African solution, because the problems that we're having is the African problem. That's the reason why the ACUP exists today, is to approach the African, all our individual problems, to approach them in a centralized way in order to see the African solution emerging, and from which we will see Africa becoming a global superpower again. Because one thing for sure is Congo was never created by Lumumba. Ghana was never created by Kwame Nkrumah. All these countries were created by enemies, and they were created with the only purpose as in order to be kind of industry or corporates to build the Western world. So if we are struggling to develop these countries, what we do, we are indirectly developing the enterprise of the slave masters or of colonialists. We are not developing something that will be beneficial to us as African people. So in order for us to do something that can be profitable to us as African people, we have to redefine the whole concept. That is why I spoke earlier on about the price. One of the price we have to consider is to abandon our individual perspective in order to come collectively and build something strong that represents all of us as African people.
Wow, this is powerful. Hey, it's like, so what role do you play in the party? Are you the party leader?
No, I am a member of ACUP and I'm working in the communication team. I just want to emphasize that within the ACUP, we don't have a leader. The leader is the vision. The reason why, and I'm going to explain that in this way. The reason why lots of organizations or lots of movements that have come in the past with the aim to develop Africa or to liberate Africa, the reason why they failed is because there were organizations or movements built on the charisma of one single leader. It means that those organizations were structured on one charismatic leader. And as you know, once a movement is based on one single leader, that leader, when he gets shut down or get eliminated physically or politically, the movement also has a chance to fail because it was based on the leader. When the leader goes down, the movement also go down with him. So the reason why we don't have a leader is because we don't want to structure this vision on one individual. We don't want to have any person to lead us, because nobody actually has ever been free. As far as Africans we are concerned, none of us has been free, and none of us knows the road to the freedom. So this is something that we have to do collectively, in collaboration, sharing ideas. What can we do at this point? What can we do to change our conditions? Everyone has to bring their inputs in order to build something that is reflective of our conditions and of all of us. But if we have to build the movement on one single leader who has never been actually free himself, because I believe that as African, you are born under oppression, you are not free. And so it doesn't make sense to have as African people, an African single leader. I mean, an African person as a single leader of such as an organization, because once he is targeted or he gets compromised in one way or another, the movement also goes down or goes on halt. So it's good to have a vision as the leader, and all of us, we put ourselves behind the vision and we follow the vision. And the vision of the ACUP is to re-establish the Africa as the global power base. And this is what we want to push across the continent. All our discourses, all that we do is to push this vision so that people can understand, that people can embrace this. And when all the people understand this, everyone will do whatever he can do to make this vision successful. And whenever myself, for example, I'm a communication member, if I'm taken out, another person can come quickly and replace me, and the movement will still go forward. The vision will still be going forward. So we are emphasizing more on the education of our members rather than on portraying personalities as leaders or as charismatic leaders, stuff like that. Because as I said from the beginning, many people came in the past with the charisma, with the good ideas, but they failed because everything was about themselves. They didn't even take time to teach people about the values of the vision which they had. And that's the reason why sometimes the very same people that those leaders were fighting for, those people turned to them and fought against them. If you look, most of people in Africa who were destroyed, most of leaders, they were destroyed through the help of the people who were working with them, the people who look like them. For example, when you talk about Thomas Sankara, he was betrayed by Blaise Compaoré, who was his colleague for a long time. Lumumba, the same thing. Kwame Nkrumah, the same thing. The same Negroes. When the Negroes don't understand the vision, they are ready to betray the vision when they are hungry. But when we teach the vision to people, people will be able to pay the price of hunger, but promote vision and push the vision, push the agenda until it's fulfilled.
This is what we call self-love. I mean, you feel it. You can, the vision is clear. When you know someone that would take a bullet for Africa, they speak like this, they think like this, they act like this. They don't put themselves front. They don't even want to be known. They just act in that way. I want to congratulate you so well. You're doing so well. And that's why we align. That's why we're in partnership with the Pan-African Daily TV. And we're supporting your initiatives so much. And Kwadow, you were just telling me something very important. How many members do you have now, even only from the Pan-African Daily TV platform?
I must be sincere. Thousands of people have come out of the Pan-African Daily TV, and your platform has been extremely amazing and a very powerful tool in mobilizing our people across the world. For this, we all have to be appreciative to the Pan-African Daily TV, and I think all our members, we have been telling them this, that we all have to come together and then be much more appreciative to the work you have done for us. We know it is something that we are all doing for ourselves, and including you. But when you do something which requires that applaud, we have to give it to you, and we are very much appreciative for the efforts.
That's good. Thank you. Yes, of course, it's our duty to do it. It's also our duty to thank ourselves and congratulate ourselves. Why not? It's very authentic. It's okay for us to do it like that. Now, Kabala just told us he's for communication. What is your own function, Kwadow, and how does it look like?
Okay, my responsibility in the party is to support mobilization globally. So I work in a team of mobilization. So I work with a team of mobilizers, and we try to mobilize our people everywhere in the world, in Africa, in the Caribbean, in the United States, in Europe, in Australia, and everywhere to come together, because we believe that power is in number. And if indeed we want to have power, then that power needs to be created from the forces of our membership or numbers. Therefore, for this year, our agenda as a political party is to have a minimum of 1 million membership. So all that we are doing, even those in our communication, those in the strategic department, those in planning and everywhere are working towards mobilization. So this year's agenda has been mobilization, mobilization, mobilization.
All right. From what I heard from Kabala the other time, and what you're saying is like, your focus is actually just teaching that vision, just getting everyone, because even for us to know that we need to unite, it's a whole teaching, it's a whole school. Sometimes we ignore all these things, right? And from what I know, and I appreciate it, is the fact that you say when you mobilize, that is when the whole team and the members will not come to put the policies together and to define, the structures together. Am I correct?
Exactly. We have been developing everything, because we have different kind of concepts to politics. Maybe we will go to that later. And if you come to our political ideology, we call it the African inclusive democracy. So what it means is that we need to include our people in everything that we do. So mobilizing our people, getting their views, getting them become aware of everything that we are doing is very important. And I know that certainly we will go into our ideologies, which are very fundamental to this cause. And in the end, it is the people which we most focus on. We are doing this not just for ourselves, but for generations yet unborn. Therefore, every one of us is very welcome, and we welcome everybody to be part of this.
Beautiful. I mean, like what I was saying is that now is the mobilization process, and we're really supporting you. And all of you that are watching, please, if you go to www.ACUP, right?
www.africanaacup.org.
africanaacup.org. Okay, we're going to drop the link here. We will be dropping the link in the chat right now, and for every interested member, just to even sign in and guard this vision. We've been talking for a long time about this, and that's why I was saying each thing that we've discussed here on the Pan-African Daily TV, the young people have picked it and to put those discussions into solutions. I know from the beginning we spoke about this here, the need for a global African party, a political party. And that was just the idea when we started. Oh, we need a defense, we need a military, we need this and this and that. And now you see, these talks and conversations that we have here daily, we're not in vain. They pick these ideas and these wishes and the needs, and now the structures are coming out. So we encourage each and every one of you to be a member to this party, just for the first time that we're even having one. Because what is going to happen, from what I know, is that we're going to be using case studies. Like somebody just dropped it in the chat, and I like that he said, you know, we could use the Haiti Reformation. So we're going to be using the case studies. First of all, even just knowing everything that happened, whether it's in the Guyana or like the St. Vincent's that we're talking about, those are particular case studies that we'll have to, you know, discuss everything about them before we even start building those policies that would govern from a new perspective, right? So, do you envisage a time point? I'm talking to Kabala, a time point where you think that after the COVID and everything, people will have to sit down and just look at the structures? How does the way forward look like?
Well, yes, the structure is already, the basics already made, available in our ideology. And everyone who joins the party has obviously access to the ideology, and everyone who inquires that, he can obviously have access to that, because it's everywhere on social medias. People are sharing that. So the way forward indeed is that we're going to implement the party in different countries. We're going to get our members through our educational program, which is given through our Pan-African Academy, the Free-Minded, because we believe that education is the key. When people don't understand the concept, even the vision, as I said earlier on, people will be most likely to turn their back on on the vision itself whenever they don't mix up some basic needs. So education is the key. Our education will be focusing on two things: the future leadership of Africa in politics and business. In other words, our Free-Minded Pan-African Academy is an academy that teach people, or that will create new African leaders in politics as well as in business, because those two things are the backbone of every society: politics and business. So that's a way forward. We get our members going through the educational program. We implement the party in different countries as much as possible, and we run for elections with the people that have been trained through our educational program, and we support them so that they can obviously win the public offices and they can lead Africa from now on.
Excellent. Who are the teachers, if I may ask?
Well, we have a lot of people, indeed, Pan-Africanist, of course, and we are looking forward to have more people of great minds. We have a lot of people in Africa. We have a lot of people in Africa. That's one thing for sure. And most of these good people are the people that we don't even see on the mainstream every day, or on the media, or on social media, stuff like that. But they have great minds. These are the people that we are carefully selecting, and we are obviously collaborating on designing the content of the program, because that's the most important thing. Teachers are not even important, but the content of the education itself is the most important thing that we are designing carefully. And then anybody, if it's designed carefully in a way that anybody can share it with other person, very important. We cannot deny them. We have great teachers in Africa. Dr. Uma Johnson, that's one Pan-African guy who has been doing great in that. We have a lot of people that I cannot name here, but yeah, as I said, the content of the program itself is the most important thing rather than teachers.
Yes, I mean, like teachers, like the person, yes, but the content, exactly. That was the point. Remember, the education that we have today, who taught us that, and what was the intention of teaching us that? That is why the sector of that academy and that education is the fundamental. Now, you can still have a content and you can still build a party, or like us Africans, and then you get the wrong teachers or the wrong content. So we're still going to be in the same circle. That is why I asked to provoke that thinking of like, who are the teachers? Because who teaches you? We are in this position today because of those that taught us, right? And so it is necessary for you to understand that we have the best teachers at hand right now. And so if you need any advice, they're mentors, they're coming up together, they're putting up these structures. You've been seeing them on the show. If you don't talk to Professor James Moore or Dr. Wade Noble, sorry, or Omar Johnson, and all of them, then we might not be getting there. We still have a lot of them. If you're not talking or having a leadership that advises, like Professor Pialo Lumumba, yeah. And so all this voices that we're talking about, even the ones in the background, the problem that we all have recognized is the mindset. So we should be very careful. If we teach the wrong concepts again, we're still going to be in the same circle. That was just but from what you're saying, everything looks perfect and good. Kwadow, I want to give Kabala a little bit of time to sip some water, and I get back to you. Like, yes, how does your schedule looks like on your day to day? About it looks like you have no other job than ACUP, right? Or ACUP.
Yes, I for now have dedicated all my time to the ACUP work. Personally, I have a consultancy because I am a researcher, and I use that to support my living. And because I have people that I'm working with, I am able to have the full time, because I know the ACUP requires that kind of attention. And at this point in time, not everybody stands in a position to have what it takes to devote that time, and we have to understand our people. And so if I think I have what it takes to do that, I have to dedicate myself to be doing that, and that is all I do, morning, afternoon, even when I'm sleeping. And I know very good, by the time I am weak, or I have not in that position, we will have many more people to take that responsibility, and they will make sure that this vision serves ourselves and also many generations to come.
Beautiful. You have been in Germany, am I correct?
Yes, please.
What were you doing? A student or researching, or what?
I was in Germany to study, and after studies, I worked also in Germany for about 2 years, and then 2.5 years, then I left Germany to Ghana.
What was your experience?
Well, it is good, I think, but the reality is that there is no place like home. You may have everything, but the most important thing, you may not have them. For instance, when you talk about human relation, it is never at home. Freedom is never at home. It is never like home. So it is good out there. They have built their systems. Systems are working, but those systems were not built for us, and certainly it can never work for us. That is what I can say.
Beautiful. It's very important why I ask so, because, you know, coming from another culture, and you are working on a global party. No, I mean, there's some things that you have learned from other structures to see what is the good and the bad in these systems. But like you clearly said, no matter how, we can only learn a little bit from there, but there's no solution that will represent the African solution by Africans for Africa themselves. That is very certain. But the question is, we need to know first what type of Africans, because some Africans, we just, like Kabala said, in this scheme, but we are all something different. Kabala, do you take that into consideration when you're in the communication department, that some Africans just look African, but their minds are all different?
Yes, yes, definitely. We have some of our people who are very critical in seeing, for example, Caucasians, okay, let me say white people being part of an organization that is pro-African or that is Afrocentric, which I agree with and I understand. But to add on that, I'm always saying that the problem is not only what you look outside, the problem is the mindset, because many of our people look African outside, but they are something else, Chinese or white from the inside. And these people form an open door to the danger of whatever that we are doing right now. As I said sometimes before, that many of the people that have been betrayed, many of the leaders that have been betrayed, they've been betrayed by people who looked like them, you know, and people who worked with them. So we have to always realize that things, sometimes the appellations, the words can change, but the system is still the same. If you remember in the old time of slavery, we're always having the house Negroes and the field Negroes. And even though they were all Negroes, they were all slaves, but the slave in the house had some privilege of eating the food that the master left, of wearing nice clothes, and automatically he became now the one who was now oppressing the slave in the field, because he was in charge of those in the field. So we have some of us who might be African by skin, but they are something else. They are oppressors in the minds. So we have to be very, very careful. And that's something that I definitely take in consideration.
Absolutely. I think it's very relevant that we address these issues. It has nothing to do with being, I don't know, racially oriented or whatever has defined the word, but it is very relevant, particularly in building a policy in a party like yours, to understand that, like you rightly said, we can look like that, but if we don't think, even on the continent, it's not even just in the diaspora. I think the diaspora is even well equipped because we've made that experience and we know actually how it is. We divide it. I work a lot with Germans as well. I'm an African, but when it comes to African, no, it's African. So there is a difference between working, networking, collaborating on what terms we do, and there is a difference between setting a policy for your people. Germans also don't do it. They don't mingle us in their stuff. So, but it is difficult to see a white that has the brain of an African that would think like that. Do you have challenges like that? Have you experienced that?
Yes, indeed. Okay. It's a very, very sensitive topic for some people, but because we don't want to talk about it, and because of what is called a kind of spiral of silence on other topics, it becomes very difficult for some people to talk about. Mm-hmm. And the simple thing is, no matter how good a white person can be, but is still a member of a certain class of people who have the power and privilege and who can never accept to share their privilege and the power with other people, because white supremacy or racism is not about love or hatred, it's about power and privilege. So that's reality. So, and that makes everybody who's born as a white supremacist or a racist, even though he doesn't practice racism, but he belongs to a group of people who possess power and privilege, and no white person can accept to share their power and privilege with other people. And that there are a lot of examples in the world that we can speak in order to explain, that we can speak about in order to explain that concept. But let me maybe turn back to why we have to be more careful with our people, African people. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. This is a very real situation. When people are oppressed, or when people find themselves in the conditions of oppression, they have only two possibilities to escape the oppression. And one option is to fight the oppression, and the other option is to join the oppression. Those are the only two possibilities that people have in order to escape the oppression. You either fight the oppression or you join the oppression. And when you join the oppression, you become the oppressor of your people, your own people. And when you fight the oppression, you stand in the line of Thomas Sankara, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, and you know most of results reserved for those people that stand in the line of fighting the oppression. So it's not everyone, even in the Pan-Africanism, it's not everyone who speak about Pan-Africanism who really is fighting the oppression. Some are speaking about Pan-Africanism because they want to join the oppression by finding a strategy that can help them to have something on the table. Because fighting the oppression, I mean, joining the oppression is for some people is to get what you need, a job and stuff like that, incomes, and you forget about the history of Africa and you keep the minds of many people to sleep. So I think we have a very, very serious issues. That is not really the faults of us as African people, but it's because of the conditions in which we have been subjected for a long time. It's always creating this kind of behavior in our people. Unfortunately, it's the very same people who look like us, and the very same people who are African who have to be teamed with us, who we have to team with in order to change Africa, because we cannot change Africa with something that does not look African, unfortunately.
Yes. Why I asked this or I raised this is like because you talked about mentorship and the teaching. So I think this is something to consider, that this is the point where we need to start teaching even about ourselves again. I would like you guys after the show to watch the conversation we had with Rev Shock yesterday. I mean, I recommend it to everyone that is joining this platform. If you were not here with us or you've not subscribed on this channel, please do, because we're entering into a section where we're going to be doing some exclusive conversation only on YouTube. Only on YouTube. Yes. So that's going to be exclusive for so many reasons. I won't tell you right now, but if you are here for the first time or you're watching from the Facebook channel, please click the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Yes, it is time to just protect ourselves more. It is not safe, but it is better. Yeah. So I would advise every young people, just watch the show yesterday. That is the beginning of what Rev Shock said, the first frequency. And the first frequency mean nothing really happened to us like Africans. Something was done to us for us to find ourselves. And the reverse strategy is we have to start learning it. What happened and how can we restore this? So to avoid all this clashes between us, this hatred, this tribalism, this jealousy, this whatever things that we're doing never was originally us. Something just happened that we got into this trauma. So I would advise everybody that is watching, please click and subscribe, because we'll be having very, very important conversations, and we're not going to share it for free for any other person out there that has not subscribed. Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much. I want to get back to the content with Kwadow. Kwadow, what is it that you expect to see happen with your party? Get mobilization? How do you want to reach out? Is Kwadow there? Is Kabala there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I think we will be losing Kwadow. And you know how it was really a challenge even to have him here. I know that already. And so it was even so much luxury that we could have him here for that time. But what I'm saying is, what is it that you want to address the Africans to know about ACUP right now? For instance, this is a political party or just a Pan-African continental party. If it is politics, are you thinking about also defense and all these kind of policies?
Yes, we are thinking and planning about a lot of things. The reason why we came with a political party is because we have a different concept in regarding different aspects of life, regarding the economy, political system, defense system, and even the family structure. We have different philosophy from the existing one. That's the reason why we thought about coming. We should have come maybe with a movement, a political movement or a social movement, something like that. But coming with a political party is because we have studied the current system, and the result that or the conclusion we have come up to we came to is that the system that we're having right now is a system that was designed in a different social environment, which is not exactly reflecting the reality of African people. Therefore, we have to come up with a system that is congruent to our own reality as African people, and a system that can respond to our problems. So we have different ideologies. For example, let me touch a political ideology that we have. As Brother Kwadow mentioned earlier on, he spoke about the African inclusive democracy. This is a political system that we believe that if the African Continental Unity Party is granted access by the African people, if African people who are awakening now realize that this movement is the salvation of Africa, and obviously support this movement and implement this movement in their own countries, and then get the members from this movement to lead Africa, we will implement our political ideology, as I called it, the African inclusive democracy. This is what it means simply. It means no policy can be drafted from the parliament, for example, and passed to the president and to be approved without the participation of the public. Because the logic is that every decision that is supposed to affecting your life or to affect your life must be having your involvement, direct involvement. So we have been for a long time suffering from the consequences of the decisions taken by politicians who have been bought by the transnational capitalist class to dictate them on the policies and direction of the countries which which they have to adopt, and whatever they take as decision or policy they implement without even the participation of the masses always come to have a bad kind of bad effects on us as the masses of African people, simply because we were not involved, because we were not consulted, and we didn't have a say in all these policies that are being drafted, in our institutions. So therefore, in order to make sure that the country is run or is managed or ruled according to the will of the people, which is indeed is the definition of democracy, which is the rule of the majority and also the protection of the minority, we have to make sure that the public, the masses of African people, have the direct participation in every policy that is being drafted in the parliament. So practically explaining, it means whenever the government want to implement a particular policy, before that policy goes to the president to be approved or to be published, people must have a say in that policy. People must be given time to understand the policy and how it will be affecting them, and they must say yes or no. If they say yes, then the policy can be approved by the president or whoever has the mandate to approve policies. And if people see that this is dangerous to them, they can also say, no, we don't want this, and that policy will never pass. The reason is simple. We are dealing now with the lobbyist groups who are the capitalist groups now who have bought our government system. That's the reason why most of things that are being implemented in Africa, you see that the policies implemented today, and tomorrow there's a protest movement on the streets. The young people are not happy with all these policies. So how do we bring a kind of remedy to this? Is by involving people in the political system. And that is why we call it African inclusive democracy. And it's actually the definition, the core definition of democratic system, the rule of the people by the people. But that has never happened before. What we have been having is the illusion of inclusion, an illusion of participation, an illusion of freedom, which is not reality, which is not really the freedom that we want, or the inclusion that we want, or the participation that we want. So if the ACUP becomes in charge, we will have every people in our countries participating in policies, in whatever that is to change the status or the status quo in our countries. That is one thing that we are coming up with. Even when we go to economy, we have also a different philosophy that we call the katikati economy, which is katikati is a Swahili word that means in the between. It means it's an economic system that's trying to create a balance in order to promote a sustainable development. The reason is this: we are living now in a world where people For example, let me give you a simple statistic. In 2016, the Oxfam International published 68 people who had if you combine their wealth together, those 67 people, their wealth was equivalent to the half of the world population, which means the 3.4 billion people of the world, their wealth combined was equivalent to these 64 or 67 people, wealthy people in 2016. And 1 year later, that number went down to only 8 men, not even women. Only 8 men held as much wealth as the half of the global population. So it is possible that one day we'll wake up in the morning with one single person having as much wealth as the half of the world population, or even possibly one single person having as much as the entire the wealth of the entire world population. And when you understand the philosophy of the capitalist system is all about private property, private property and wealth expansion, private wealth expansion. They've come all the way from being millionaires. Today they are multi-billionaires, and possibly they are racing to get trillions. So what is the end goal of these people? You ask yourself. But the question is, the wealth that we are having is produced from the natural resources. As we're speaking right now, there are statistics that by 2030, the oil oil reserve will deplete. Which means we have to shift to another alternative of energy in order to function as a society, because the oil is going to deplete because of exploitation. So if the resources from which we create our wealth, the resources are limited, oil is limited, gold limited, every resources from which we create the wealth are limited. How do we have unlimited wealth expansion by individuals? As I said, there are billionaires today. Who are they racing to become? Having trillions, and possibly one day we wake up in the morning and one single person will be the owner of, for example, Atlantic Ocean. That means for us to have our ships, crossing over the Atlantic, we have to pay from that one individual. One day we can wake up in the morning, one person is having, is the owner of the all, drinking or drinkable water in the world. It means we have to pay to that one single person in order to drink water. This is the vision this is the ambition of capitalism. It's it's all about unlimited wealth expansion. And because there's no limit on how people can get rich, there are a lot of pressure on the environment. The resources are depleting because they are being exploited massively in order to expand their personal wealth, and the rest of the people are languishing in poverty and also in the extreme conditions. How can you explain that we are living in a world where people are capable to send a spaceship to the moon and return it on Earth? People are capable of doing extraordinary things, but people are equally unable to end hunger, extreme hunger, and to serve people who are dying from hunger and malnutrition in this world. This is telling you simply that the philosophy of the capitalism cannot be the solution for Africa. In order for Africa to how can I put it? In order for Africa to re-emerge, we must come up with an economic system that gives access to every people to grow economically speaking, and this economic system also that put a limit on how one individual can become wealthy. Because when one single person becomes wealthy more than even his country, there's a possibility that he can buy the entire government and tell them what to do in order to keep the mass of the people in poverty, and also get himself expanding in wealth, in his wealth, in personal wealth, so to say. So the economic system that we're coming up with is well studied in a way that it will be balancing the wealth that we have, or the resources that we have, with the wealth that people have to get for themselves, in a way that we can limit the unlimited expansion of wealth by individual people.
I hope the family is feeling this, what I'm feeling here, right here in the studio. I mean, this is excellent. I mean, I must applaud you. You know, sometimes we used to think that our young people sleep on their brains and like, oh, what are African young people doing? But we're going to be showing this kind of, portraying and bringing this kind of voices, young voices, to actually prove to ourselves that no, nothing is wrong with us. They just did something to us. And now we are at that point. Yes, we're at that point that we're gaining our self-consciousness. We're becoming to even see who we are, how we look like, what we want. We know it exactly. I want to thank all of you that are supporting the show. And I keep repeating the link of this African Continental Unity Party. I think it's a good start. And one thing that I like is the unity in the word that you use. Kwadow, you're back with us. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I'm so sorry you were kicked out. Yeah. I said I like the fact that there is the word unity in this ACUP, ACUP, Africa Continental Unity Party. It could have just been Africa Continental Party without unity in it. Now, what does that actually signify when you had to put the unity into it?
Okay, unity, most often we talk about unity, but what is actually unity? Many people may define unity in different forms, in different ways, but with us ACUP, we understand that unity is in the mind and is also about us as people. Many of us are waiting until we have a single united party, or sorry, government to dictate the affairs of Africans before we can talk about, we can say we have unity. But we don't think that is unity. We think that if we care for one another, that is unity. If we try to empower each other, not on the basis of the borders which delineate us, that is unity. If we become concerned of what is actually happening in Africa, that is unity. If we are having a common policy and defense system across Africa, that is unity. So to us as African Continental Unity Party, when we talk about unity, we are trying to have a common understanding of what the African people need everywhere they are in the world, to be able to have a common agenda, a common vision, and drive this vision across the world. And if indeed we are all riding behind a common vision, then we have unity. Today, Ghanaians and Nigerians have become rivals. They are talking about, we have Twitter headquarters in Ghana. Why do we have it here? If Africans are united, such issue wouldn't be an issue, and we wouldn't even think about Twitter coming to Ghana. We will be thinking about building things across the continent. Ghanaians, Nigerians, Cameroonians, everywhere in the world, we can come together to build Africa on the global level, and we can reclaim the African global power base. So basically, to us, unity means something more than a unitary government. Unity is about ourselves. I have to be able to care about what is going on in the DR Congo. I shouldn't be bothering myself of what has happened. For example, the Ghanaian president could not issue a message of condolence when the president of Tanzania, Magufuli, died. But immediately the Prince of England, the Prince died. I don't even know his name. He issued a long message of condolence, and this becomes worrying and threatening. I ask myself, is that the Africa we want? We care about what is going on in America. We care about what is going on in China, in Europe, but we have no interest in what is happening in the next door of the African continent. And these are fundamental problems which are found in the mind and also are found in the system. And to us, we want to break the system and then replace it with something which is more going to bring us that unity in the mind. And that is what we define as unity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's very powerful. I'm not really even against when they share motions of condolence to any person or human. But the problem is, why do you prefer some to your own very? That is the question. And I like the fact that you put that issue of unity in it. Kabala, do you see it in that same spirit? I know you've been saying it. It is all about that. It is very important, the word unity that you use in the party, and all the visions that you can have vision, but you miss some some words in it, it is not the vision at all. So no matter how good the content or the concept, but there's some key words that actually tie that knot. What does this significance to you? Kwadow, you said it very all right. I'll give an example, Kabala. If you look at the white or the Caucasians, they are united on one common purpose. But most of the time, we Africans always like, oh, they are not united, they are not like us. Because for us, it's a kind of like we display unity, but we don't exhibit unity. We display it. It's like it's a show. But when it comes to dying for one another or standing for your own, like the issue of the president, we are not. So how can we get this kind of a unity? Like I said, in the case of Thomas Sankara, it was his brother. He's not even a compatriot or comrade, brother. It was his brother, right? And you would never see a Caucasian do that. Why do we do that? I mean, we're talking in terms of unity.
No, thank you so much for that. I also think Brother Kwadow, he has well articulated the issue of unity. If I have to give to add something on the issue of unity, or on how I see unity, or how the ACUP sees unity, we don't see unity because the problem is that we have been telling people that Africa must unite. Africa must unite. But it's difficult in this condition today to just get African united or uniting on the basis of speech or statements of pushing people to get united. There are fundamental differences that have been erected already among ourselves as African people. Different languages, different cultures have developed all over the continent. So it's not easy to tell people of Africa that we must unite and expect them to be united. What we have to do, we have to create a common goal that is reflective, of everybody's reality, and then present this goal to everyone. Let everyone work to accomplish this goal without realizing it or without even thinking about it, about unity. We'll find ourselves around that goal, working together. That's how the unity of Africa will be formed. Let me give you a typical example. You can see a bunch of dogs fighting each other, biting each other, but once you take a piece of meat and you throw there, all of them, they're going to eat the meat, and they unite themselves around the meat. This is what we have to do if we really are willing to unite Africa. But unfortunately, those who speak more about unity, they don't do unity. They speak unity, but they don't do unity. And they know very well that Africa cannot be united by speech. And I just understand that they make speech in order to live or to survive, to get a bread, because they don't do unity, but they only speak unity. So what we have to do in order to unite African people, we must design a vision that is reflective of all African from wherever they find themselves to be. In this moment, one thing is real. Africa, we have the gold, we have the oil, we have the resources, we have the mindset, we have we have intelligent people in Africa. In case you didn't know, the person who manufactured, the person who invented Lenovo, I'm using Lenovo right now, is an African person, Mahdeen, that is his name. Within 6 or 9 certificates that have built a laptop, he owns 6 of them. So we don't lack wisdom. We have wisdom in Africa. We have resources. We have everything. But we miss one thing. That is the power that we don't have in Africa. We don't have the power to feed ourselves. We don't have the power to educate ourselves. We don't have the power to protect ourselves. We don't have the power even to develop our own curriculum in terms of education, or to define what is the family structure has to be in Africa. That's why we are adopting everything from the West. LGBT, Africa is embracing. Whatever else, Africa is embracing, because we don't have power to position ourselves firstly to say that we are the people, this is what we want for ourselves. Therefore, the vision that any African person should be embracing right now is the vision that will give them the power. That is why within the ACUP, our vision is to re-establish Africa as the global power base. Because if we have the power, we'll be able to feed ourselves, we'll be able to use our resources to intervene to our own problems without thinking about the World Bank or the IMF or even the Chinese to come and recolonize us in our own land. This is the problem that we are facing, is the problem of the power. So if we present this vision of the power and the need for power to African people and show maybe a formula through which we can acquire the power, every African man and African woman will be working to get the power, and that's how we find ourselves united around the vision of the African global power base. And we believe that we can achieve this noble cause of unity by doing exactly what we've said and what we are busy doing within the ACUP.
Good. Hey, I'm super impressed, and I know just looking on the viewers on YouTube, it's so motivating, and I think exactly we are all gradually getting on that on the way ahead. Now we're still coming from bushes from everywhere to be on the mainstream, on the main road, on the main journey. And all of us are just looking, were you already there? Is someone watching? And so, but we are getting there. We're getting there. We can feel it. We can see it. And it is very interesting to have you here. I'm going to open the lines because I've been criticized in the lately that I don't give audience. I don't give the audience the time to speak and to share their opinions. So I'll just be taking some calls and questions that will be directed to you, or just comments about how they find this initiative. And like those of you that are watching, I just dropped the link, but it's on WhatsApp, it's on YouTube. So if you're watching from Facebook platforms, you can find it is pinned, and it's always there on the Pan-African Daily TV Facebook page, on our Instagram page and Twitters and all. Yeah, so click in, join the party, give your contribution. For the first time, we are having this. Now, while we're waiting for the call, please use just WhatsApp, okay? Call using our WhatsApp line, which is rolling on the board here. You all know it, right? If you're familiar. If you're new, it is +49 1578 211 2379. So call in, share your contribution with us. We're happy to have you here. Yes, I already see the calls coming in before I even pick it. One thing that I wanted to say, or I would like to ask the last question before we officially open the line. The diaspora, that is my heartbeat. For the continent, I know they're there already. We have them. We just need to take care. The diaspora. The diaspora is my heartbeat. I mean, I'm looking forward to that kind of a party. I know maybe you already been thinking about it. We're also here to see the kind of things you'll be doing, and all the other big mindset. We'll have to get a look and overview if there's a place to advise or something, But issues like citizenship, yeah, we're having crisis like in St. Valencia. We just saw it. Evacuation, repatriation, and people are taking, their comrades and their people. Africans are just stuck, don't have any way to go. We know that the brother islands or sister islands are also doing their best to take her. But how long are we going to take it? Let's just even imagine that the tornado would just come and drain all our people down there. I mean, we'll see some flight, private jets coming to pick up their own, and our own would always be last on the table. This is depressing. And that's why I want to throw it back to you. Do you consider this challenge? I mean, the African Union is talking about the 6th region. I'm still looking forward. I'm working every day, and we're going to get that minister of that 6th region here to tell us the right and obligations that the 6th region has on the continent. Because nothing, like you said, they talk these policies, but nothing is being done. Now, do you take this very important aspect of our almost 3 point how many out here, yeah, that we're talking about, that were abandoned? I know that you're connecting, you're putting tentacles everywhere, but this is one of the critical solutions. How do we bring our people back home? Now, what are the reforms that we have? Juliet Ryan is there fighting every day with the government in Gambia, the citizenship for Africans which belongs to them. Do you consider that?
Okay. When you talk about African people, we are the only people wherever we are. We don't need a passport or anything to identify ourselves. When you see an African person everywhere in the world, you can know that this is an African person. So if an African person by force or by any means has been moved away from the African continent, to me, that African person has an inalienable right, human right, fundamental human right, that cannot be taken away from that person as long as that person exists as a human being. Therefore, all African persons around the globe has rights inherently in the African continent. Therefore, as a political party, we consider the diasporans, especially our people who were by forcefully taken away from our continent and be deposited like goods in other parts of the world, to have a right to land. For example, before they left the African continent, they were living as humans. They have land, they have property.
They even their origins. I mean, do you think that you were taken from a tribe or from a family, and your family did not have land? And this is actually some of the things that we really want to talk to the kings, not even the politicals or the leaders. No, they can't handle this. The kings, because
yes.
if the Black Americans or the Caribbean, so how they call them, Africans everywhere, would have access. They know their genealogy. They traced it already. I come from the Akan and this. It is the responsibility of the kings to allocate to them the land that belonged to their forefathers. But today what we see is they go and they've been challenged to buy lands. So if an African come back home and is obliged to buy land, and a Chinese, what is the difference?
To us, like you have already pointed out, they have a right, fundamental right to or a stake in the African society. Therefore, it is up to the system at home to make it available to them. I think we have to make it available to every African person. For example, we are talking about compensation. They need to be compensated for what they have lost, and the African lands are being given out to people who are not the African person. Therefore, we consider them as a first priority, and we will make everything possible to ensure that they are able to come home if they want, and they are given every necessary support to be able to leave Africa and be able to contribute to the African society. There also, you talk about they have so much. We go out to people not African. They have acquired a lot of knowledge. I have known so many Africans in the diaspora with huge potentials. If these potentials are brought back home, we believe that it can compensate what we go out to call Chinese, to call Europeans, and our own people can take up the task and rebuild Africa as we are all doing it.
Thank you very much. I think that has touched a little bit of some of the worries that when we hear about global movements or Pan-African movements that are actually coming up, and we appreciate it. First of all, if we don't address this issue, because like now, even I hate even when we want to refer to them, we like, come back home, bring back your skills. For me, it is still a lot of selfishness, a lot of egoism. Yeah. Why don't you just say, my son, my daughter, my people, just come back home? That is Ubuntu. I still don't even know why we refer too much. We use the word democracy more than Ubuntu, because those are the basis of our system of philosophy that should be the basis of our rule, right? So it is not a government by the people, for the people, by the people. It is without you, know me. I belong to you, you belong to me. It is equality, it is fairness, it is right. Just in that statement, everything is on the line. You don't need to even go start teaching people what is democracy, what is this, what is the meaning, what do you separate? One word, Ubuntu. Know me, know you. Simple as that. Whether it's challenges, know me, know you. Yeah. Whether it's health, know me, know you. There's nothing like we're gonna start putting. Whether it's gender, we don't know gender in our culture. It is know me, know you. I belong to you, you belong to me. So I'm very happy that you're getting it so well. Even it is not the mainstream media interview that we had here today. Like if we even had a conversation. I mean, we reach out this morning and you're here and you're just picking exactly what we expect. Not go and stereotype something or prepare some presentations. Right, okay, it's not a teaching, or cram some things, or I have to send some questions that you have to respond to. We are so thankful and grateful to have you in this space, and the time is really now. Take into consideration whatever things. I'm addressing it globally to every one of you that is creating a movement. The first criteria of that movement that concern Pan-African means we are actually addressing the situation of our lost sons and daughters and grandchildren that were illegally taken away from us. And when we want to talk about basic human rights, it should start from there. It should start from an African coming back home, choosing where to live, getting possession. You leaders, it should not be like bring back your skills. So if they don't have the skills, you would dump them out there. That is not African enough. So I'm picking up the first call, and I've been keeping the brother waiting. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Dr. Tata.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Is calling from okay. I have a few questions to ask. First of all, I'm commending the guy for such a wonderful work. Thank you very much for thinking those initiatives to bring Africans together. It's really applauding. So I want to know, how can I be part of the political party from Freetown, Sierra Leone? That's one.
Okay, that's
Number
very.
two, Number two, I would like to know how are we going to?
I'm so sorry. I know you're calling from Freetown and the internet is not supportive enough. Hello?
Yes, my young cousin. I am so impressed to see two young men aspiring and sounding the way they are. And I am so proud to know that these guys are going to be our leaders. I would definitely like to see you guys in the future doing miraculous things, not just for African people on the continent, but all over the Caribbean, wherever else they might be. I would definitely like to be a part of your operations. However, whatever part I can play, I'd be happy to be involved and share my little expertise with you guys. Actually, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you guys some more.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Yeah, applaudable. Yes, I mean, I can't wait. Which African would not be proud of these brothers? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Can you call without using the camera? Just call audio.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because it won't connect. Use the audio. All right. I'm so sorry for that interruption, but the brother who called from Freetown, Sierra Leone, I think he was still asking a question and he's calling back. Just note them down, and when we give you the floor, you'll be answering those questions. Hello?
Thank you, I'm back.
Yes.
Yes. I was asking, how can I be part of that political party?
Okay, number one. Number two, quickly before we lost you.
Hello.
Go ahead. The second question before we lost you, because your connection is hanging. There he goes. Right. If you call again, just go to your question or send them per text, right? Just type WhatsApp and I'll bring them up for answers. Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Yeah, I want to come to the show.
Yeah, you're on the show.
Oh, okay. This is Brother Anane. We thank our members there, Mr. Kabala and Mr. Ejay. We thank them a lot for this great discussion. You know, ACUP asks all of our members and in the diaspora to join us in accepting the responsibilities for the future of Africa and the rest of Africans in the whole world. You know, all our past and present government have built a false prosperity on a hollow base of our national debt across Africa. And we need a change. So as Mr. Kabala and Mr. Ejay is talking all must accept the burden, and we must face the facts, as well as all countries growing, too much growing fiscal deficit and too much debt. And African Continental Unity Party believes that Africa will continue to be with the reputations as our forefathers lived. Thank you very much, each and everyone who is watching this show. Must subscribe to panafrican.tv and also must accept the ideology of African Continental Party. Thank you very much. I'm speaking from Italy, Parma here. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. I'm laughing because of the everyone that must, you know, that kind of like, I heard that statement along when we were growing up. You must do it now. Hello? Yeah. Hello? Yes.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Ukoje Chidera.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling from Ukraine.
Go ahead. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. You see, first of all, before I proceed, I must tell you that I'm happy to see two young boys doing very well and having the spirit of Africa right inside them.
Mm-hmm.
You see, a popular man, I've forgotten his name, once said that when I want to fight for Africa, I fight Africa using one hand, using the other hand to fight Africans who are fighting me. You see, one of the major problems we have as a people is that even till this moment, most of us don't know that we have problems yet. Do you understand?
Correct.
And that is why it is very much easy for a lot of us to be manipulated by the West. You see, when we don't call a spade, it will continue to ruin us. It will continue to ruin whatever we represent. Now, I keep asking, I try my best over here. I follow you on Facebook and I share your post a lot. I try to enlighten people on the fact that if any African leader who wakes up to do the will of the people, they end up being killed. A lot of them, you can talk about Gaddafi of Libya, who was killed using Barack Obama, a fellow black man. You talk about Thomas Sankara, his brother being used to kill him. You talk about Julius Nyerere. You talk about a lot of them. You talk about Lumumba of Congo, right? Sorry, am I correct? Congo, I think so.
Yes.
You see, it can keep on going on and going on. Then the people that claim so much to love you will rather see a tyrant leader doing very, very well. Using Uganda as a case study. Museveni, you know him very well, he's a tyrant. And yet, the West, who claim to love you, will rather leave him in power. And the poor guy, Bob, he's been oppressed, and even the Western communities are keeping quiet. But they're the ones that preach democracy.
Okay.
You see, so
yeah.
my point right now is that I want to tell those two guys, Kabala and the other guy, they should also watch their back. I know what they're doing. I know what it takes. And believe me, if they don't watch their back well, the West would also hesitate to take them down.
All right.
Because they should be wary of these people. Okay? In as much as I am concerned, we love Africa so much and we are willing to do whatever it takes to sacrifice for the upliftment of our people. And one other problem we have is also religion. Western religion. I know my people don't understand this, but I hope that with time they will understand. When the Christians are waiting for Jesus, who has promised to come and solve all their problems, and the Muslims are waiting to die in jihad and have 7 virgins after, we end up killing ourselves every day, dying in ignorance, fighting for God, who is supposed to fight for himself. You see, anyway, I don't know what else to say. We have a lot of problems in Africa. I just thank them for bringing up a solution. If we work together, we're going to do very well. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thumbs up to the both of them.
Thank you too.
I will be happy to be part of this organization.
Good.
They give us more ways to join.
Yes. All right. Thank you so very much. I keep hearing people ask how they can join. We just share the link there for all of you that are interested to join. Go on to click onto that. It's very simple. I already joined today. just clicking the link and I was already in. Hello, I'm taking one of the last calls and then I get back to the speakers. Hello.
Thank you so much. I'm the last caller.
I don't know. Go ahead. How are you? Welcome.
I'm fine. Okay, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Kabala and the next brother.
Kwadow.
Yeah, they are doing a wonderful job. We are very happy and proud about them, you know.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah. So good. Over to you, Kabala.
All right. I got only one question, which the brother asked. It didn't manage to get through with this second question. And
all right. Just hold on 1 second, please. I think there's a question coming up here. They've been worrying. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I guess my screen is a bit lagging. I'm a bit behind. So, am I the last question now? Am I the last caller now?
Just go ahead.
All right. Okay. I was going to say, what I was going to say is, I like the idea that these people have. It's a very, very brilliant idea. I think it's the way Africa must move forward as well. Their party, the Africa Continental Unity Party, should act like a movement all across the continent, and they should have parties of this sort, of their type, all across the continent. You know what I mean? I think in terms of unity, I think it's better for us to unify on an economic or military, or on economic, military, and I can't remember the last one, and a policy level as well. I think we must unify on that as well. You know what I mean? These things are tangible evidence of unity. I think we're already united in terms of mentally. We all have the same. We all think the same. I think we are winning on that side. But I think if we can unite on tangible assets, I think that will be great.
Absolutely.
And I think the best way for them to move forward is to create chapters of their own, replicate such political parties on every country in the continent. And the agenda should be towards unifying the military and economy, the unifying trade. I think that way we will get forward, I think.
Thank you so very much. So you can join the party. These are the kind of people and mindset and everyone that is calling that they really need. We need this support. They're not going to do it on their own. The unity is also the work and the engagement and even just the advice. Yes.
Yeah. Because when I look at the labor movement in Europe, they have labor movements all across America, Europe, Australia. It was all over. And now we have labor parties, and some of them are opposition parties in these countries. I don't see a problem with a party like that operating in every country. And sooner or later, you'll know it. The mood of politics will start changing, and you will win because you will have a lot of Africans gravitating to your message.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's wonderful. I also see it that way. Thank you so much for your call. Hello. It is your day. I have to pick the calls. The questions and the feedback would help you to push it on. Hello.
Yes, this is Alumai Edward from Uganda.
From Uganda. Thank you for calling.
Welcome. I want to thank King Kwadow and King Kabala for the wonderful presentation. And I'm basically congratulating them and telling them we are all in this together. The time has come, because if there is anything Africans are supposed to do in this generation, then it will be dedicating time to this effort of seeing us united, so that any other thing we can do for Africa can be.
Okay. Sorry. Network. Okay, I think that is it. We would get back to you in the studio, and I want to thank all of you watching from the continent. I know how expensive it is for you to stay and put your data, and so we want to just get the best that we can. But one thing, even if you'd run out of data or something, remember this is a production. It's going to stay here on our YouTube channel, and you can watch anytime you want at your leisure. That is why it's very important that we sit here every evening, do these productions. It's also a database. So you get their contacts inside. You can go through the concept again, whatever they said. Now you can, out suggestion and question. Over to you, team out there. Kwadow.
All right. Okay, thank you so much for all the feedbacks and all the comments. This is actually what give us a reflective view on, from different people, obviously, that help us to see what we can restructure and what we can, change in order to get this thing really speaking to every Africa.
Mm-hmm.
We want this to speak to African people. We want this to be about African people, not about individuals, not about even us. So I think from the beginning, actually, I have explained extensively why we don't have a single leader in the parties, because we want this to be owned by African people. So maybe starting by the first question as how can one join the party? It's very simple. Just have to go to www.african-acup.org. org, and you will obviously get an application form that you're gonna fill in, and then you that's how we get your details, and then from there everything starts. If you want to become a proactive member within the party, once you receive a confirmation email, you just reply and let us know what you want to do, and we will engage with you on a very personal level to discuss what we can do together. But before that, when you get a confirmation message, it comes with the ideology of the party. So you're going to have to go through the ideology. And after that, there's a training. And then before you take any responsibility, you must go through the training. So the process is very simple. It's not very complicated. Just go on the website and then, apply from there. So I do also want to comment before I leave my brother Kwadow to also make comments on other areas that have been highlighted. I want to comment on the brother who mentioned about uniting Africa on a military basis. I mean, that's a very, very important. I believe myself that is been the key for African freedom. And this is the reason why I'm thinking is the key. Whoever wants to build a strong economy must be able, firstly, to build a strong protection in order to protect his economy. You cannot buy a Lamborghini if you don't have a secure house where you're going to have to park your car. If you buy expensive car, you put it in the streets, the next morning it's going to be stolen. So even now, we are talking about this issue of African free trade, the African continental free trade. And many African people are excited about it. All of us were excited about it, thinking that it's going to free us economically speaking. But I doubt that this will really bring the kind of result that we want as African people for two fundamental reasons. First reason is done by a bunch of people who are part of an old class of leaders who have become obsolete. We have to throw them out of the leadership from the window, actually, not even from the door. And we need new mindset in order to drive the leadership structure of Africa. That's the first reason. It's done by people who have failed in many things. So there's no way that we can believe that they will succeed on this particular project. And second reason why this African continental free trade is likely going to fail is because Africa is willing to build economy based on its ambition to become economically free as China, but it doesn't have a kind of protective measure to protect its economy, which is part of the vision that people should be having. I'm going to explain this very simply, in a very simple way. You see, in 2011, Muammar Gaddafi had lots of money. He had lots of money. He himself donated something like, I think, 300 million US dollars for the building of the African satellites in order to design or to establish the African communication system. Prior to that, we were using France and other European countries' telecom system, where we used to pay them 50 billion US dollars every year. So Gaddafi came with this idea. There was an idea of building African satellites, which cost us something like 400 million US dollars. And he founded himself, what is life? He put himself on the table, something like 300 million US dollars to get that project functioning. What I'm trying to say is Gaddafi had a lot of money, he had a lot of ideas, but didn't have the means to protect himself. You see, when the destruction of Libya came, the money of Gaddafi didn't protect himself because he didn't have the protection or the defense system that would have obviously preserved him from the destruction of imperialists. That's what I'm trying to say. Africa must firstly look how to defend itself and how to aggress its enemies if possible before we think about developing some economical structures that we are ambitious about as we are dealing now with African free trade. Because the moment that this African free trade economy becomes successful for African people, the very same people that you know, the very same people that I know will come with a war, will come with a destruction, and they will shut it down, since Africa has no means to defend and protect herself, and most importantly, to cause harm for those who want to destroy it. So I just wanted to comment on that, on the brother who said that we need a continental military system, and I agree with that. We need a continental military system, and if possible, we need a continental nuclear weapon in order to protect African people. Jewish people lost 5 million people during the Holocaust, and they've been allowed to have nuclear weapons. African people lost more than 100 million people, and we are still living under threats. There's all reasons and there's all logic that we should become, in possession of nuclear power in order to protect ourselves. And we don't have to rely on the criticism of European people or on their acquiescence for us to have it or not. We have to decide what we have to do for our best, and we got to do it. But we have to do it collectively.
Brother Kwadow?
It seems to be off now. I think his line tripped.
Yeah, but we're hearing you. Yes.
On is the brother who made mention that we have to watch our back and we have to be very careful.
Exactly.
We thank him very much for that recommendation. And obviously, as the people, before we took up this duty, we know that it is something that a lot goes into it, and we are very much aware of the threat that poses on our lives, on our family, and everything. However, we try our best, which is why we don't build this around any individual. Whoever joins, Brother Kabala has said, we train many people, so we will have as
Okay, I think
many soldiers as the members of the party.
there's no way, Kwadow. We're not going to get you. Kabala, can you take over, please?
Yes. It's just to comment.
The issue he raised, sorry. I want to just bridge you over so that you take it over from that point, because exactly I was also going to talk about this issue of, what is more easy for us to just sit and say, oh, don't do it because they will come after you, or do it. Because that's the fear. I mean, before you even started this, you're aware, isn't it? Nobody needs to tell you.
Yes. I mean, that's true. That's true. So that's the reason why we have to make people less important than the vision or the goal. You see, it becomes, I mean, the risk is when the people in the movement are more important than the movement itself or the party. That is where there's a big risk, because when the people go down, the movement also go down with them. So we believe that what is important for Africa is not the people or what is important in this context is not us as individuals, but it's rather the institutions that we build. Because people perish, people, disappear, people die, but institutions can live forever, can live for 100 years. This is the most important thing. So once we build this kind of mentality in the continent, or in our culture becomes part of, if this becomes part of our culture as African people, it will be easier for not, for us to be not even worrying about who's going to do what to me, because I know that I've brought my stone to the structure of the institution that we want to build. Therefore, whatever happens to me, it's fine. The institution stays there, and I'm guaranteed that the future generations will live in a free world. The reason why Africans are still pushing for positions which ultimately put them in danger and also makes them worried about themselves, about protecting the backs, because they want to be always in front, is because for a long time being obviously oppressed, once you get an opportunity, you want to be also visible to other people, and most importantly to the people from whom you have escaped the oppression, or in other words, people that you cannot show off to people who have given you position, but you have to show off to the people who have not got what you have. The same people that have been suffering from like you, as you were in the same condition. So that is a current disease now. It's all about show off. People must see me that I'm a boss. People must see me that I'm a leader. People must see me that I'm the one who has built this thing, who I'm the one who's driving this thing. So we don't have that kind of mentality. That's the price we've accepted to pay. It's not, we don't push our individual personality in front. We have to push the vision. So that's one. And the second advantage of that is because, as the brother mentioned, once you are there in front, you become a target. But since I'm just, fulfilling a function of communication, anybody can do this. Anybody can become a communicator of the party. So whenever I'm being targeted, I don't have to worry about, watching my back, because whatever happens to me, anybody else can replace me and the vision will continue to function. So in other words, you can kill the visionary, but you cannot kill the vision. So that's the most important thing.
Beautiful. And then one thing that we have to understand, particularly in terms of this fear, it's also a trauma, isn't it? I mean, imagine you leave the show. It won't happen. It should never happen. Sometimes I don't know whether we just also think that we can die of other things, or that we can also be sick and die. Why must
that is true? That is true.
Want to do something, we first of all have to put, oh, it has to be this, like that. So we can also die. We would die anyhow, whether it's by doing something. But I think what is important, like you say, is die a good die. I mean,
for sure.
It's a noble cause way to die.
That's a point. There's not even a kind of a price to win if you die at age 70 or 50, and there's nothing that you lose if you die at the age 20. You die. So there's no difference between a person who dies at age 90 or the age 20. So we are very afraid of death, without even realizing sometimes we are dead in our mind already. And we apart from death, we are also afraid of suffering, without realizing that as African people, there's no another level of suffering that we can endure than what we have endured and what we are enduring right now. So the only option that we have is to act, to do whatever it takes in order to free ourselves. And it's quite interesting to see that African people who are, 80% religious people are afraid of dying. While they are waiting for paradise. You cannot go to paradise without dying. So I think that African people should rethink different concepts that we've embraced, from those who put themselves in a position of being the civilizers of the world. In reality, they were the destroyers of the free world. So there's no another level of suffering that we can go through, or humiliation that we have to be worried about, than what we have right now, of being people who have all the resources, but being people that are poor and people that are mediocre in all levels. This already last level of shame. What we have to do right now is to begin doing whatever it takes to do to get our things right. And we have to be to realize that the freedom begins firstly by overcoming your fear and also overcoming the love of money.
Correct.
I'm quoting Bobby Wine.
Exactly.
Freedom begins by overcoming the fear and overcoming the love of money. Because if you have overcome the love of money, you cannot be bought by those who have money to buy politicians. And if you have overcome your fear, then you cannot be intimidated by white supremacists or by whatever else that always intimidating African revolutionaries. And we are here on that. Look at me and tell me what you see.
Hi. Wow. I think we're just discovering that we're having another Osman Touré, and we were saying that they're going to come up from every angle and every species. We are super proud of you. I think ACUP has just introduced itself and all of us are aware of it. And like we say, it has never happened. It's just like the Pan-African Daily. We never had a medium where it connects us and to talk about our challenges, bringing solutions all over the world, whether you're calling from the continent or in the diaspora. So ACUP is that same spirit of, it's not a continental thing. It is, just for the people on the continent, it's a global, it's a global. And we actually share their vision so much. We're happy with it. The leaders have seen it. They've seen their paper, position their policy and their vision, and they are thinking that, yes, this could be something that we could start thinking about and start teaching ourselves about it. You see, this criteria of joining, you go through, some questions and answers. It's not just like, in Africa should not be like that. It's not going to be open, enter and go when you want. No. Africans now are of that level where they say, you know what, it stops here and I decide how it stops. So exactly, that's the mindset. The moment we keep hovering around everything and doing nothing, so you ask yourself, even like you said, sometimes you're even dead, just being alive, but you're thinking that you're existing. So what is much better? Some people, we look at death even like something that is bad. I mean, if you've really lived a fulfilled life, you've put your engagement, you put your values in the point. I mean, sometimes you should be happy to go and rest. Why must we always look at it as if it's a problem? It's to die. I mean, some people pray even when they get to a point to just say, please, I just want to rest, take my life away. But sometimes I think we're afraid because we don't achieve our vision. We haven't even had one. And so we keep aging and refusing, or we refuse and go 20 years back, right? And want to start again from scratch. No, be contented where you are. And if you're so secure and you know that you've played your own role, you don't have any fear. And when death comes, even now at any time, you'll be ready to go and you'll be happily going. So there's no fear in that. We should be ready. Just do the right thing. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you think all these things that they're doing, it's too much work. I know it. I know it. Kabala is sitting here or talking, or they're running this prophecy. It's not just some people, oh, thank you for the thing you're doing. It's too much work. And we Africans have to learn to work. We have to learn to work. We have to learn to stop just exhibiting talks and that. Work, create something. Come to the show, present it. Yes, we give you the support. We give you the blessings. Yeah. So stop fearing. We're all going to die. And when you do something right, you're not afraid. You're happy to go and rest. So I think we have come to the end of this show, and we're thanking all of you that were here, and particularly our guests. I just want to give you one round to give a shout out or thank you or last word message. I start with Kwadow. Kwadow, I mean, it's unfortunate the way you're coming and going in, but no problem. At least you're still here. So what is your last statement before we leave? Kwadow?
I am very sorry for the network interruption. That has been a very problem for me always. And as an African people, we need to be concerned the kind of services, because we always depend on other people. And it's very important that we need to know that the time has come for us to come together to do for ourselves what others for so long have been pretending to be doing for us. And
Correct.
what we have for so long been waiting on other people to do for us. We have whatever it takes to do for ourselves all that we need to live as humans. So I want to call on everyone. This project and this journey requires people, and we call on you and your brother and your family to join us. Let us do this and do it together. It is possible. I say we can do it. Thank you very much.
Ashe, thank you so much, Hotel brother. Yeah, our spokesman.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It has been a pleasure to be on your show today. What I can say to our fellow Africans around the world is maybe repeating the words of one of our ancestors, John Henry Clark. In his words, he said that Africa is always the richest land of the world. Africa has things that many want and they cannot do without, and they have never wanted to pay for. Therefore, they will always find an excuse to invade Africa. They came like friends and they had to remain like conquerors. The same way Europeans came to Africa is the same way that we see Chinese coming to Africa right now and Indians coming to Africa. They come like friends, but nobody can predict what will happen between Africa and them in 100 years from now. So when we look properly and closely to the situation of Africa, we see that we are living in a time of danger, but it's also a time of opportunities, because danger and opportunities always work together. And we have just to find where is the opportunities and tap into them and do something. We are appealing to fellow Africans to wake up and join the ACUP and make this a global movement that never happened before. We did it in the past. Marcus Garvey did it without TV, without cell phone, without internet. He mobilized 15 million people. Today we have the internet. Today we have the TV. Today we have the cell phones. We only need commitment and the vision. The vision is already there, but commitment is what is missing from most of us. It is time to gain the commitment and join this movement and make it a successful movement, because this might be the movement through which the future of Africa can be designed. Every project, big or small, always start like this. So alone, myself, I cannot save Africa. Myself and the brother Kwadow, we cannot save Africa, but all of us as African people, we might be able to turn around the complete paradigm of African people. And this is the time that we have to do that. This is the time that we have to give back to the world its lost humanity. Just as we gave the first humanity to the world, we might be also in charge to give it again, its lost humanity. And that might be even the reason why we have been preserved during the 400 years of slavery and extreme conditions. We didn't die. If those conditions were applied to other people, they would have disappeared completely on the face of the earth. The reason why the fate reserved us or preserved us was maybe because we still have something to give to the world. And now is the time that we have to join. Now is the time that we have to make things happen as African people. And we believe in ourselves and we believe in everyone from African descent. Please join us and let's make this successful movement. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. You've said it all and you've concluded. And we thank you all for being here with us. And it has been a pleasure. We're looking forward to continue to push this forward. Whatever new comes up after this, let us know, and you would always be here. I mean, we're going to follow up every commitment that every Africans are doing, put our own support in terms of communication, reach out and promote and rebrand ourselves, you know, making sure that your message and your vision actually gets across to the targets that we want to meet. So I want to thank you, and I wish you a good night and a happy weekend to you and your families out there. And we'll hope to see you on the Pan-African Daily TV anytime soon. Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Ashe. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Happy family. Happy people. Something is coming up very big tomorrow. Yes. Tomorrow. Don't miss it. Let me tell you that. I mean, don't just say, Susan, you like to. Tomorrow, we have a guest, extraordinary guest for the first time on the Pan-African Daily. I mean, you know, when I say we have the high-end teachers. And you know what his topic is going to be about? He wants to make us understand that Africa was never enslaved or colonized. But the whole time we've been talking 400, 500 of slavery, colonization. And Sir Robin Walker is his name, is coming here. He's also a scholar. The big shots that we know out there coming to tell us that no, Africa was never enslaved nor colonized. I mean, I'm looking forward, like when I heard and I saw that, and even when he confirmed, because we've been trying to reach out to him since last year, it wasn't possible. And finally, we are getting him for the first time on the Pan-African Daily TV. Can you imagine that? You know, we're talking about mindset, and we've been in this whole swing for 400, 500 years. And then we're going to get one king that is going to come and tell us, no, you've all been having it wrong. And this is the reason why. I can't wait to have him. You should not also wait to have him. If we miss this point in life, then probably we don't even know. We just live into exist and function. All right. So join me live tomorrow. And we are going to listen very very keenly to what he is about to educate or just make us start looking at things differently. I'm really looking forward. And I hope all of you are going to join me live here on the Pan-African Daily TV. On Sunday, normally we don't stream, but I want to do something very special because we had a text from the U.S. Department that came up. I mean, not us on the Pan-African Daily. You've seen that communique. That the U.S. has banned Ugandans, some Ugandans, I don't know whether all, from traveling into the United States because of the human rights abuse and the post elections that happened in Uganda. We want to make it an open conversation to find out. Yeah, it could have been, but what business? Yeah, why would they impose? Okay, yes. So don't come to America. Now, what do Africans think about it? Movement, freedom of right, or whatever. But who makes the decision and why? And how does this? Of course, there is also an opinion that is saying, yes, this is exactly. Because otherwise, no other person would come to the aid of Ugandans. They were murdered, they were incarcerated, they were killed, they were arrested, they were tortured, and whatever. And so some people are like, yes, if we have that kind of a solution, but then when we go deeper into it, we say, how does this stop that from happening again? Just not traveling. I won't even travel. COVID has already made it impossible for you to know that traveling is not more anything. But what is it when the West, gives a mandatory kind of like travel ban on African leaders? We want to have your opinion. We just want to understand, because if it's just all about just not traveling, I think His Excellency Museveni, if he's one of them, will like, keep it. Maybe like late Mugabe of Zimbabwe, right? But what is it? What is the impact of it? Is it a solution? Is it not a solution? How can we make it better? What is your opinion about it? Yeah. So we want to have that conversation on Sunday. It's going to be an open session. We're not going to have any guests, but I think it is necessary for us to talk about this letter. And we've been seeing that happening all the times. Travel ban here. What is the impact? What difference would it make? Does it stop what is happening? So we want to get that. And then we want to get Africa's youngest king from Uganda also. I'm trying to reach out to this king. He might be coming on the show this week. And we want to learn from the young kings, because sometimes we talk about African kingdoms on our rules. We always see the old ones that are even passing away, that will just pass away. And they say the king passed away, in the African culture. No, this one is a young one. He's called the king of Toro Kingdom in Uganda. And I'm really trying to reach out to this king. He turned, I don't know, I don't want to say it here. I don't want to be sure about that. But he had a birthday today, to which we are reaching out to the people of Uganda to celebrate and to wish this king of Toro a happy belated F Day. Yes, but we would like to share the input, because that's one of the most important kingdoms in Uganda. Please just Google Toro and learn a little bit about their history and all the monarchs and the different kings that have been ruling. And then you would find out actually the word Bantu. and its real meaning, where it comes from. Some of us, we actually say these things here, but we don't research, we don't know. Just Google Toro Kingdom, yeah, and get a little bit of idea before we will get this king live on the show with us. Now you know what Saturday 24th is coming, and we're planning, we're cooking something. Some of you have been following on our Facebook page. We've just been commenting a little bit on it. We're going to have Nana Kwame Bediako. You can also check on Twitter, inform yourself about him. Apparently, he is, as we know, one of the youngest multimillionaire of Ghana. How did he get his wealth? How did he made it a reality? We want to have him on the show on the 24th of this month. That is on Saturday, not this Saturday, the other Saturday. But he also would be accompanied by Usman Touré. And these two youngsters are saying that the Africa we want is now, and we are going to make it happen. Now, what is so particular when we say, you know, he is a multimillionaire? That's who he is. He owns the whole boulevard. Yes, a real estate mega project in Ghana. He's not even in his 30s yet, or I think early 30s. Now we want to really find out. Yes, how? Why is it very relevant? Because sometimes, even when we talk about our continent and our people, we also are tempted. Yes, we are sharing the voice, we're representing the needy. Yes, but of course, there are also young Africans that are making it big time. Because luxury is a problem for us Africans. Luxury has been stereotyped, has been blacklisted as if a young African cannot be a billionaire. So, but there are a lot of them, and you will never see such on the mainstream media. Either the media is jealous of them and how they get their wealth, their business, or whatever. But this one is different because he's Pan-African. You know, we will not bring them anyone here, right? And his concept is clear. The young African can dream. You only need to know how we do it. Yeah. And how we can do it. So he's going to be talking about industrialization, technology, you know, how is it that we can make it? And also, we want to get an insight to what he's been doing on his projects. In the meantime, we just post daily information about him, you know, but you can also Google or research, and he's available on Twitter. And yes, just to get a little bit. So these are the two big ones that I'm announcing, but the whole week we're going to be having spectacular, educative, and informative guests. So I want to wish you all a happy, happy, happy evening from the Pan-African Daily TV. On the technique, we had Tumi Tata, assisted by Iya Babot Tata. And out there, we had Naisha Melkan, yeah, and the man on the place, Patrick Kasurim. A shout out to you. Thank you all for watching, and we will see ourselves tomorrow. Africa was never colonized nor enslaved. Let us get this straight, you know. So we see ourselves tomorrow. Bye-bye. We all love you. Ubuntu love, okay, to all of you out there. Bye-bye.